What's up, DJ fan? Welcome to another video on our channel. Welcome to another episode of Start to Spin. My name is Diego, also known as DJ Pretty Boy, alongside my boy Shay, also known as DJ Shay. And together we open this spot to talk about DJ related content such as product reviews, tips and tricks, just tell our stories and share it with you guys so we can share some knowledge. So if you're a new DJ or a seasoned DJ, this is the spot to be. And with that being said, let's roll this intro.
Yo, what's up, everyone? Hey, Diego, what's up? Why are you so quiet?
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Start to Spin. You already know we're kicking it with DJ Pretty Boy and DJ Shay. And today we definitely had a fun one. And I know that most like every DJ have gone through this, definitely. How to deal with rejection. How to deal with talking to the clients, whatever, and then at the end of the conversation, the couple days later, you get an email, you get a text message or a call saying, no, we're not going with you, we're going with somebody else. How to do that, and then how can we turn those rejections into a next booking, like a possible booking, or how do you learn from these rejections to be better for your next the next opportunity that you have for a to DJ an event. So I'm gonna go ahead and share one of my stories, and then can share one of his stories. And first of all, we're gonna talk about one of the times that I lost a booking that I really wanted to do, and why. So, and it was pretty much really on my beginnings, where I really had no idea how to talk about like the business portion of this. So it was a wedding. It was gonna be maybe like my third or fourth wedding, and they were asking for like special like they wanted. At that time, when I did my first wedding, I only had two speakers, my controller, and and that's it. I didn't even have lights. I had to ask one of my friends to let me borrow his DJ lights that he retired. He doesn't use. So he did, and but when I spoke to this client, the lady was saying, "Oh yeah, so I want like the app lights. I want app lights. I want like I want like
Yeah.
a lot of this like like extra curriculum stuff, extra stuff that to me at that time it was like, oh wow, that's gonna be a lot of money that I'm gonna have to invest, and I'm not there yet, right?
You don't even
But
know, yeah. You don't
yeah,
know.
but it's a wedding, and then she also mentioned that she had her husband, it was American, and then she was Spanish, so that got me a little like also freaked out because again I was just starting and I had no idea about like the American side of weddings. I've
Mm.
only knew feel more comfortable with the Spanish,
Mhm.
and like so out of because I was, I guess, out of being scared, I just threw I think I said, oh, I have to charge you 3,000 or something like that, and obviously for her I guess it was way too much. uh, so like a couple days later I follow up with her, and then she was like, "Oh no, we decided to go a different route because like your price is just out of my budget." And I was like, "Okay, I mean that's fine." I wasn't gonna push it either because
Mhm. Yeah,
I was scared, but I still wanted to like show that I was interested. Because
yeah,
if I would have landed, I would have to work my butt off.
yeah,
So I was like, all right, whatever, it is what it is, and I I was fine with it, but again, it was more because of the money. And I maybe now with the experience that I have, I wouldn't felt the way that I felt back then. I felt like I really lost a huge opportunity, which I guess I did because but at the same time, maybe I'm very believer in like maybe it wasn't my time. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
God just didn't want it to happen, and fine, I'm good with it. So
Yeah.
That was one of the bookings that I lost, and I feel like and it was one because it was the price. It was way more, but she was asking for a lot, and
Yeah.
like if I
No,
had
I
the
mean,
same price,
that's legit. That's good. Honestly, back then that you knew to charge way more because it's better that you charge that unless rather than you trying to say like, yeah, I'll do it for 800 or something, because you really
yeah,
want the gig, and then you're
yeah,
like, oh my god, I have to either have to buy this stuff or I have to pay someone else for it. And
what's up, man?
I'm back. Says Chin Chillin, Chin Chillin. What's up, man? Thanks
What's
for
up,
coming
bro?
to the podcast.
Yeah,
Back for
bro.
another week.
Make sure you put in the comment one time that you remember that you got rejected from a possible gig that you really wanted to have, like it's on it, that it was like a perfect gig for you, and because whatever, it just you got rejected.
And
Um,
how would you learn from that?
yeah, and so I feel like back to what I was back to what I was saying. I feel like it I could have probably deal with it better, but again, I was so fresh. I was like I have no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, have do I have if I have this client happen come to me again, uh, $3,000, it's not bad
yeah,
for what he
yeah,
was asking. Now that I know what I'm doing, it's not bad.
yeah.
It's like okay to me. It's not even
Yeah,
high
it
end.
depends, like, what she wanted, all the extras she wanted and stuff,
Mhm.
like, so that's what I'm saying, like, the price-wise, I mean, I think you quoted a pretty good price because
Yeah.
even for not knowing, you quoted a pretty good price for them.
And to me, I'm just gonna say 3,000 because I obviously I'm gonna have to spend money out of those 3,000. I was gonna spend a
Yeah,
lot of money on like getting lights, moving heads, or whatever I had to get because I didn't have anything.
yeah,
So
yeah,
uh, I was gonna invest a lot of money, and I'm not gonna lose because again, this business that I have, it came out from every single house party that I did. I started, investing in my own business. I've never touched my regular day job money for my DJ business.
yeah,
So, and I take pride of that because I grew. You guys seen all the equipment that I have just with doing house parties. So
yeah.
that's my take on that. Hey, what's up,
And
Smiling?
Smiley's in the house, man. Yeah, Smiley, let us know
Yeah,
in the comments if you
yeah.
Smiley's probably never been rejected, man. Smiley's one of those DJs gets every single booking. Now we were saying at the beginning that everybody's been rejected at some point, so let us know like if there's any times that really stand out for you when you got rejected and what you learned from that, if there was something you learned from that.
Yeah.
Um,
How about you?
and yeah, that's the thing, man. Yeah, especially when you're starting out, because you really feel those rejections more because you're not used to it. You're starting out. You don't have much. Your confidence isn't that much. So you're thinking like, oh, like why you might get in your head. But mine, dude, remember mine was probably the biggest one was that one here. Once I moved here, remember I like
The
went. It was this really rich client. Like I'm talking like
lawyer?
the what?
Was it a lawyer?
No. That one I rejected them. That's the different, maybe a different
Oh,
category. That's a different category. I rejected that client, but this one was once I moved here. I live in the LA area, so like there's a lot of really rich people. So these were like some really millionaire, like fancy people, and their planner reached out to me, and they were doing doing it at their house, but their house was like an estate, like in a really nice area.
uh-huh.
So they're like, oh yeah, they heard about me through another DJ. So it was a good lead because they didn't just hear about me online. Like another DJ recommended me to them, that I knew and that I knew here. So it was a really good lead. They were really interested. They were like talking to me like I was their DJ. And then I go there. They're like, hey, we're doing like a walkthrough for all the vendors. So I'm like, I'm not saying this to make you guys feel bad, but I'm just so you could paint the picture. So I got dressed, like, I shaved all my hair, shaved my thing, like wore nice clothes, like all ready to go, like washed my car on the way there because it's like, like fancy area. So I do
Uh-huh.
all this stuff. I go there, like I'm in the meeting, I'm talking to everybody. After the meeting, like crickets, like they don't say anything. And I'm like, hold, I'm like, damn, like I think I send my contract to them. Hey, this is the contract, blah, blah, blah. No, nothing back.
Uh-huh.
And then a few days later, their planner, who never talked to me before, I was in direct touch with the clients. The planner reached out to me and tells me, "Hey, so sorry, they wanted to go in a different direction. They made it was BS, but they basically said like, they were hiring dancers. Like this was like a party. Imagine a movie, like there's gonna be like dancers
Okay.
around, like dancing. Like
Like,
so we're
like
hiring
a
we're
full
hiring a
entertainment service, pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah. So like so they hired a dancing company, but they were like, that dancing company said that they have this one DJ that usually they work with, so we're going with that DJ instead of you.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, whatever. I was like, okay, like sure, whatever. But
Yeah.
that one really stung because not only like was it a really big client and like a really wealthy client, so like if you do an event like that, then that can kind of change those. Then you get word of mouth with their friends and stuff. But then, so I didn't get that gig, and then on top of that, all that stuff that I had done, I've literally gone there and spent like so much time.
Yeah.
First time I ever went to like do a free like a walkthrough. Like in the gardening business or like pool business, you go there and you do an on-site thing. In
Yeah.
DJing, you don't usually do that, but I did that for that one, and then it's still, after all that stuff for free, I didn't get it. So, what that one really taught me was that they had asked for some of my content before, so I didn't really have good. I had content, but it was like the gig log style, so it was like just from my booth and just like the phone and seeing everyone's back. Like that was the content I sent them. So I think since they were, obviously they're fancier and they're, higher budget, they saw that and they probably thought like, oh, like, this guy is just like one of those regular wedding DJs and doesn't do like the high profile clientele. And then I probably lost the gig that way. So what I learned from that was like, I kind of to focus more on my content, make it seem more like, I'm a high level, more like DJ that does more higher end events.
Were you able to find out who the DJ was, so you can look at his?
Yeah. So I found out later, but he's like the number one like Indian DJ in LA, like the longest established guy from here, and like the guy who has the biggest name. So they ended up hiring that guy.
Okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, so like but still that one was like, because I was there, like I was the DJ that was there, and then so it's like I literally had it, like it was like it was a really really hot lead. So
you fumble.
yeah, well that's what it's like, but that's the thing, like I at that point I wasn't like ready for that, maybe at that stage. I mean, I know I would have done a great job and stuff, but yeah, that's what I learned from that one. But here, let me hit these comments from Smiley. He said, "Now we have been rejected. People tell us we charge too much." Yeah, I mean, honestly, out of all the reasons to be rejected, that's the one I'm like the most okay with, because I'm like, hey, like that's good, I don't want to be doing them just because I'm the cheapest DJ. But when the work we put in, if they've seen us DJ, they see what we can do. Yep, that's 100%, man. And Chinchillin says, I normally charge 500 or 600, depends on location or what time it ends at the event or what type of event was it. Yeah, I mean, it depends, right? Everyone has their price, and depends what type of event it is. What kind of reasons do people reject you for? Then is it the price? Is it the like, I don't know, something you don't have enough content? They don't like the type of music you do. If they do reject you, what do they usually tell you?
Yeah, because I don't know who will reject the $500 to $600.
Yeah, it depends on the wedding. If it's a wedding, then definitely it shouldn't be because of the budget that you're getting rejected. She says that I did get rejected, which hurts me sometimes because I don't have illuminación and audio, because I don't have
illumination. Like
illumination.
Light.
Yeah, like lighting.
Lighting.
I don't have big control. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, okay, so lighting is one thing. I mean, there's a lot of easy lighting options. So like that you don't have to like spend too big. Like, just start with 2 wash effects, and you can even, if you can screw them on top of your speaker, depending on the type of speaker you have. That's how I started. Just screw it on top of the speaker, and then you don't need stands, or you don't even DMX with those. You just need to just do it with a remote. So if it's just like lighting and then a mixer, I mean, that's different though. If they're trying to have someone control for the band, that's different, because do you want to do that? That's like, do you want to get involved with that? Because that's like a whole nother thing. Even if you have the mixer, it's like, Diego, I'm sure you can speak to
Yeah, no,
You want to get rejected because you didn't want to do audio for the band, you're probably happy about that. Then you don't have to
yeah,
do that.
yeah. So for me is I can work with a band, but a band cannot work with me. So I'll plug to your stuff because
Mm,
your stuff it's already you're willing to beat up your stuff.
yeah,
But I'm only to a wedding. I'm taking two speakers and two
yeah,
subs. That's it. You as a band are taking seven, eight. I don't
yeah.
know,
You
like
need like
those
monitors.
towers of speakers
Uh,
and like subs. And you guys, they really don't care about sound quality. As long as it's loud, that's all they
mhm,
care about.
mhm,
So
mhm.
I'll plug into your stuff and then just give me a channel and then I'll regulate my volumes
Yeah.
and then the rest, it's on you. And actually, I have a wedding that I'm gonna do where this band recommended me. I yeah, I got recommended for this band is working for this wedding, and they want me to fill in for the spot where the band is gonna take a break.
Mhm.
So I'm doing a wedding. So I'm gonna definitely record that one because it's different. Because
Yeah.
usually I'm the main person, and then they just come in at the end and like finish it up.
Yeah.
But this time is different. They're going to be the main people, and I'm closing basically. So
Oh,
that's
got it.
interesting to me.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting. And Smiley says, yeah, that's wild. The band needs to take their equipment. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, unless you're like a production company, right? Like if someone's reaching out to you, like, hey, we want you to do our sound. I don't consider that a rejection when I tell them, oh, I don't do production. I know Smiley, you do production sometimes, but like me specifically, because it's like I'm just not gonna do that. So it's
yeah.
like I don't see that as a rejection. It's just more like that's not a service that I offer.
Well, in that case, we're rejecting it, not
Yeah, yeah,
they.
exactly.
We're not getting rejected. We are rejecting them
Yeah.
because it doesn't fit what we
Doesn't fit
do.
exactly. Yeah. So Chin Chin does the same thing. He says he only does DJ because I don't have big equipment to handle. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's why I wouldn't if they rejected you because of the like you don't do sound for the band, then even Diego, I think you agree that that's probably a good reason to be rejected. You're like, all right, you save you a lot of work and a lot of time, and then also probably annoyance dealing with the band.
Yeah, yeah. It's that. I mean, that you said it. You said it
Yeah,
best.
yeah, yeah,
Again, I once I get to experience that with this band that I'm gonna be working with, I'll record it. It should be fun.
yeah. That'll
But
be a good gig log, man. And
yeah,
then, so then as a follow up to this whole thing, like when you have a client, so like sometimes they don't reject you, right? They just ghost you. Like you meet them or you respond to them, and then they just don't respond, and that's basically a rejection, just like that. So do you ever like ask them or follow up with them to ask, oh hey, like why didn't you like end up going with me, or do you just if they tell you that's all you take from it?
me, I don't ask if they don't answer. See, and then that's the thing that we were talking about when how often do you follow up or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's something that I've gotten better at because before, like when I first started, I didn't follow up at all. Then once I started getting like I was getting good at this, then I was like following up every like I think like 2 or 3 times, and then I'll stop.
Hmm.
And then lately, until we got to our the episode, I wasn't following up. I didn't care. I was like, if you don't hit me up, it's because you don't want it.
Yeah.
But now recently, I have started to like just send an email, just one time. I'm like, hey, I send you the package. I hope you receive the packages. Let me know if there's anything that I can help you with. You have any questions? Please let me know. I'm also available for a video chat if you want to do a video call
Yeah.
or text me or whatever. If I don't get anything from that message, like whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll do the
Yeah,
next
I
one.
agree. I agree. I think like we talked about in our follow up thing, but yeah, following up that's different. Like following up from a conversation versus they tell you, oh, we went with somebody else, and then you ask them, hey, why? Well, why not?
Yeah, no,
So
if they tell me they went to somebody else, usually or most of the time, they tell you, oh, it's because We want somebody else because it was in our budget, or we
Yeah,
want somebody else because they work with the entertainment that we're like hiring or whatever. So they
yeah,
usually tell you why. It's rare that they don't tell you, but if they don't tell you, uh, don't ask.
yeah.
I mean, for real.
Same thing. I agree. I mean, sometimes they tell you, like this one example I gave. They told me. I had another example. They were like they wanted to have a drum player, and then I didn't like have a drum player included in my package versus this other DJ company had it included, so that's why they went with them. But yeah, in general, it's like Smiley said, like we'll follow up, but I won't ask why they rejected or ghosted. Like I won't be like, oh, why? Like if they say, oh, we decided to go in another direction, I won't be like, okay, like can you tell me like what about me what about me that you didn't book me or something. Like I won't ask that. If they tell me, then I say okay. I won't like argue with them on it too, right? I think that's just if whatever they say, even if it's false, like they're like, oh, we didn't pick you because of this, you're like, okay, thanks for letting me know, have a great, hope your wedding goes great. Like you don't have to be like, oh no, like I said I could do it for this much, or like you don't have to get into a whole like discussion with them about whatever they said was correct or not.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, that also takes with your, the DJ's pride. If the DJ's
Yeah,
pride gets hurt, then that's a huge problem. And
yeah,
this comes with why DJs get rejected. It's just just couple of talking points or cue points that you should keep in consideration when getting rejected. Uh, One, it's budget. So either the client's expectations versus your value. It's don't take it. Maybe the style of is mismatch. Your style or the way that you DJ does not work for them, or vice versa. That's another reason why you will get rejected.
hmm
Timing. They book someone faster, or maybe they try to reach out to you. You send your packages, but this other person got on the phone with them or something, and they were like, okay, let me go with you because I talked to you on the phone. So timing is also another factor, and sometimes it's just the lack of trust or visibility. Like you said, if had you had more like social media stuff, videos and things like that, then maybe this high end client would have gone with you. But
hmm
since you didn't have that much to offer in regards to like content, then there wasn't that trust that maybe they found on this other DJ that it's been established for a while.
yeah,
So those are things that you got to keep in consideration. But again, at the end of the day, you can just follow up politely, and always thank them for the opportunity, because it was an opportunity to
yeah,
work
yeah,
for you. You could ask for feedback if you want to. I wouldn't, but you want to, maybe if it's like a very friendly conversation that you have with them, and you get that vibe that they're pretty cool and chill. Maybe you can ask them, hey, if you don't mind me asking, what made you decide for them and not to go with me? I just want to know, so maybe I can do better next time. Something like that.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
it's not to the point that they tell you, oh, because you said 1,500 and they're doing it for 1,400. I
yeah,
mean, okay, I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. It's not like oh, but I can do it for 1,400. No, don't do that. If they
yeah.
already said they're going with them for 1,400, okay, man, go ahead, do you. Thank you for the opportunity. Hopefully, we can get to work. We can work together. Or we can collaborate another time.
Next time, yeah. And then let's see, Chin Chun said, "Yeah, I had that before. If they don't answer me back, that's okay. Maybe next time." Yeah, sometimes, yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, if you're a DJ, like it comes with the territory, right? We're getting rejected. Like everyone's getting rejected. You could be even getting rejected more than you're getting booked. Depending on how many leads and stuff you're getting. I know I definitely am. Like the number of inquiries I'm getting versus how many I'm booking, way more inquiries and way less actual bookings that come out of that. And Smiley said he has a story. I had a pool party at a new neighborhood this year. I gave them my price. They ghosted me until 2 days later. They wanted me to match the price with the other DJ they spoke with. I said, nah. This is a good topic because this has probably happened to all of us. but I DJ'd the pool party in the same neighborhood last year. The people that live there keep telling them to hire me. They hired me again for the rate I gave them. No price match. Nice, man. Nice, man. And
Yeah,
then we
maybe
added
if
printing
they
to the
know Target.
Okay, let's start with this one first, dude. But this could be a whole topic because yeah, like people tell you, hey, this other DJ quoted me this much for for this, and then
Yeah,
what do you say?
raise your hand or show hands on the on the chat if you ever gotten this type of inquiry.
Yep.
I think everybody gets this one all the time. But yeah, that one is definitely a very hot topic. This one that Smiley just brought up, because you're always gonna find, especially with our community, that they're always gonna talk down on price. Always, they always want to talk down on price. It's just crazy
Mhm.
how much like our our culture just does that.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. You tell an American a price, and they don't say, "Oh, can you do it for less?" No, they're like, "Oh, okay." They might not go with you, but they don't tell you, "Oh, can you do it for less?" But
Yeah.
you tell a Hispanic or a Middle Eastern or an Asian, you tell them this price. Oh, but can you do it for this price? So like, then why are you asking me how much I'm gonna charge? If you want to put the price to my work, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly, dude. That's why I mean I think in DJing it's easier because like DJing it's easier to say no to this because you can be like, okay, yeah, that's what that DJ. If you want me, this is how much I charge. Sometimes it's harder in like if you're a car mechanic or something where the job is the same. It's like this is what needs to get done, or like a guard or like a pool. I needed to build this specific pool. Everyone can do it the same way, or something that everyone does the same way. The DJing, it's easy. It's like, okay, like that's what he charges. Then you get that DJ. But if you want me, this is how much I charge. And then
yeah,
sounds like Smiley stayed stuck to his guns with that, and yeah, and then he got the gig because that's why the people there knew and kind of pressured them into saying like, no, this guy's actually good. Don't just go with this random guy who we haven't heard before, and then your party's gonna be terrible. And then let me get this. Smiley added printing to the photo booth. Nice, man.
oh
Hopefully, you been able to sell that too. I mean, I know Smiley, you're not gonna get anything unless you can sell it. So I know that people are probably booking that too, like
yeah,
the
he
printer.
probably already got a lot of inquiries for that.
And Chinchon said, I remember the red flag parties. A client never paid. Oh, what the heck? Oh, I promised you I pay you on Sunday. Next day, no, they don't. It was on my family friends party. I did give them a warning. Oh, that's bad, man.
Wait,
So you're saying people didn't, the client didn't pay.
oh,
That's a bad
that,
situation.
that's another thing that I was doing wrong before that I don't do now. Huge mistake. Don't do this. When I started, I will get paid after my job is done. Don't do that. At least 50% of the pay should be before you show up. You know,
Yeah.
and if it's a quince, a wedding, full payment should be in your bank account before the day of the event.
Yeah.
So
Definitely weddings. That's what I do. I don't know. I wouldn't do quinces, but weddings, yeah, 100%. It's pay before. I collect in advance. It's just these house parties that you can get into this problem. So it's like
yeah,
usually that's the thing. It's also a culture thing. Like everyone wants to pay you after the job. They want to give you the cash. Oh, I have cash. I'll give you after. So
yeah,
most of the time, they'll
especially if
give
they
it
don't
to
know
me.
you.
They'll give it after. But then, yeah, what do you do? What do you do if they don't give you money? Like we're not like I don't know, collection agencies or like repo men. Like if they tell you, oh, I'm gonna pay you, and they don't,
Yeah.
it can
So
become a bad situation.
in my case, I've never had someone not pay me. I had someone take a couple of days to pay me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They said they were gonna pay me that Saturday, and they paid me on like a Wednesday or Thursday.
Mm.
And then one time I used to work like kind of like you like subcontract. I subcontracted for this lady that she runs a like a party business. Like you hire her and then she finds the plays, the DJ, the
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
food, or right. So she she took 3 months to pay me one event, and since then I'm like, nah, like
That's wild.
yeah,
How does
three
that?
months.
I get that only like with company. Like if I work for, like I do events for colleges. So when I'm working with the college itself, like they have the whole process and the checking department, whatever. That I've gotten checks after like 6 months for with that. But
Oh,
that is the
wow.
only time. Never working with someone like individual level. It's always like when you're working with businesses, that's when this can happen more. Like you get paid way later. But I also know with the businesses, like probably I'm gonna get paid. It's just that their whole process is so convoluted. You have to do this and requisition, this, that, all this crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
but I mean, I thought mine was bad, but yours is 6 months. That's way too long.
Yeah, that was, but those events that's different too because this is probably one individual lady, right? Like it's not like she has a whole department that she has to put your process, process your check and they print it out and they mail it to you. So that's
No,
how it went for me.
yeah, but check this out. She has her business and she has employees, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm
She
saying. She
she
should be able to pay you
requires
faster. That's what I'm saying.
yeah, but she requires at least 50% of the payment. Let's say she's charging 15,000 for like the whole thing, right? She's
Hmm.
charging 15,000 for the whole thing. You tell me that's gonna take you 3 months to pay the DJ?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
That's
no,
the thing
because
for like
you
an
already got
individual.
paid.
Like her, like she's not a big corporation. Like it should never take that long.
Yeah,
That's just
it,
usually the
it
thing.
should
Like,
be the next. It should be the next day, if
yeah,
anything, or before. Like I said, it should be
yeah. She could
before.
pay before even, or like once you arrive. Like okay, you arrive and give it to you. But anyway,
Oh,
let's see what these guys said. Smiley said, "Crazy part, it was American people. Oh, the company that built the neighborhood hired me originally. Now they got some kind of people in charge. That's crazy, dude. So this is even
American.
individual. No, but it's not only other American, but it's the like people in charge of doing the events for the neighborhood. So it's not even like their own money. It's probably their budget, whatever budget they have from their
Yeah, yeah,
company. And if they're negotiating like that, that's crazy. That's like that's weird, man. So I guess you're wrong, man. It could be also be it's not just people in our community. It's everywhere. And he said they booked me for Christmas parties here already. Nice, dude. So yeah, they I don't know what sounds like that whoever took over for their events just maybe they needed to
yeah.
get
That's crazy.
with the program. And Smiley said we had a couple tip us $200 the day of rehearsal for ceremony because we stayed and played music for them for like an hour for dinner after the rehearsal. Wow, for the rehearsal dinner? That's crazy.
But then that wasn't a tip. She paid you for the hour.
Well, yeah, was that in the contract to pay for an hour? Pay for an hour, or she just pay your overtime rate then? That's
I
true.
mean,
That's a good point. And then Shinchan said, and I did give them a warning to let them know if they ever do this again, don't call me. Last warning. Yeah, that's a red flag. And it's also it becomes a problem when it's like a family friend. Like you said, it's your mom's family
that's
friend,
the worst, bro. That's the
and then
worst.
they don't pay you. So
When it's someone close to you, that's the worst because then you
yeah,
know, especially like let's say if it's like family members, you can kind of like whatever. I just but when it's a close friend or something like that, it's just like it's just the worst feeling ever. And then
yeah,
because you're gonna see her often, you're gonna see her more often than not. So
yeah,
and then
yeah.
she doesn't want to pay it, or I'm stupid. Like
Yeah, they don't want to pay. Then you're like, especially if you have it's one thing if sometimes for family I'll do like, oh, I'm just doing it for free. Like not on a wedding or something, but like just a party at home. Hey, I'll come bring my speakers. Like that's why sometimes with family I won't even like. There's no money involved because it's like there's no point. I was like I was gonna come anyways. I'll just do it for you for free for like a small
mhm.
party. But yeah,
Yeah.
anytime you introduce money into a relationship, there's always that potential that something doesn't go right, and then your relationship will never be the same after that.
And that was one thing that when I brought Pee Wee into the business,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that we talked about the first day. I was like, look, man, we are gonna let's do this together. Let's work it together. Let's keep building it up. But I tell you one thing: this I am never fighting for money.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he was like, he was the same thing. He was like, bro, I will never fight with you over money.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, again, we have a really, really good relationship. So it's, and then I guess we know each other since he was 7 and I was
Yeah.
10. So,
Yeah,
um,
that's the thing. Like you gotta be like really clear, and then also keep that going too, because then that's the worst thing. Like worst case scenario, because of some stupid money thing, then you like your relationship is becomes in jeopardy.
yeah, it's just crazy how money can break a solid relationship that you probably
Yeah,
have with someone over like paper, because literally it's just paper, it's
yeah,
currency, but it happens.
yeah. It happens. So you got to be really mindful about that, especially like anytime you're in, being with family or even family friends. Like what happened with Chinchillin. So then
Yeah.
Smiley said, "Nah, they had paid for ceremony practice. We could have left, but we decided to play music after for dinner."
Oh,
Yeah, it
so they
worked out
for
then.
ceremony. Okay.
Yeah, it worked out then, and it's nice. That's nice of them to pay you and recognize that you guys stayed extra for them. And Smiley
Hmm.
says, "Yeah, guns out, prayers up." Chinchillin, I hate that feeling when it becomes DJ business. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I think most of us, probably all of us in this, went into it because we just like DJing. We like playing for people. We like creating those moments.
Hmm.
Being life of the party. And we're not like thinking about it from a business standpoint when we go into it. But then you
Yeah.
have to learn that, like Diego, like you have to learn that at the beginning. Oh, how am I going to price things, and then you have to at some point make that transition to. I'm not. This is not like a charity I'm doing for weddings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you have to approach it like a business. If people don't pay you, you can't. Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Like this one's on me. Like that. It doesn't work that way. The more all
Yeah.
years
And
of time you put into it.
yeah. And that was the biggest thing for me, especially with the lady that mentioned to you that has her business, whatever.
Hmm.
Like she paid me 3 months later, but it's not like I'm not gonna tell Pee Wee, oh, I'm not gonna pay you until 3 months. Like no,
Yeah,
like I have to pay her. I have to pay. I have to pay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
what I'm saying, like those are the things that you also gotta keep in mind when working with somebody else. Whatever happens is not their problem, so you have to pay them
yeah,
whatever they
yeah,
were supposed to
exactly.
pay, and then you deal with whatever you do. So like if they tell me, oh, I'll pay you tomorrow, whatever, then yeah, I'll be like, yo, Pee-wee, I'll pay you tomorrow once I get the full payment. But if it takes longer than like a couple of days, then I'll just I'll pay him, and then whenever I get it, if I get it, which I've never not gotten it,
Yeah,
I'll take it from there. But these things could happen,
yeah, it can
but it
definitely
shouldn't.
happen.
It shouldn't happen
It
because
can
you
happen, but
still.
it happens, and then you got to figure out how to deal with it and how much you want to enforce it. So Smiley
Yeah.
has a couple things here. He says, Smiley says, same with my homie. We are working together and keeping it growing. Yep, and same thing. Like when you have a friend, then you go into it together. Then you got to be mindful, and you got to maintain that relationship above anything that comes up with the money. Smiley said, just gave me an idea. Add a clause on interest. Yeah,
There you
dude, you
go.
can do that. So in my contract, because I got that one I just got mine from Google or whatever, but it literally says like if you don't pay for the weddings, it's like if you don't pay with 3 days to go to the wedding, basically with 3 days left, then a 5% late fee is added on to the price, and that's it. It doesn't keep accruing. It's not like 5% daily like interest, but at
Uh-huh.
least it has that. I've never enforced. I'm never going to enforce it like that, but it has it in
Just
there.
make sure
So
that you're getting paid.
yeah, so it's like then it's like
But you
five.
know what? I didn't never thought about that because my contract has it too. My contract has I need to get paid like full. I need to be fully paid before the day of the event. But
Yeah,
I don't have the like any. Oh, okay. Maybe that's because I haven't put in a specific time. Like you put 3 days before. I
yeah,
just put the day before. So the adding a 5%, it wouldn't work for me
maybe the day
unless
before.
unless you're paying the same day. Like
Yeah, yeah,
same
yeah.
day, 5%. Like yo,
That's
what's
like
up?
it's in there. It's in there, but like I've never enforced it. But yo, what's up, Solstice in the house? DJ Solstice is here.
I feel the same way as Sosa, bro. I
Yeah, he
hate
said
the business side of it. I just want to play music,
dope
like
music.
that.
That's exactly that's the reason all of us most of us went into it. We weren't like, oh, this DJing seems like a good way to make money. Let me go into this business. It's like we like DJing, and then we learn the business, and then some of us are better at it than others, and that's why YouTube is great. Like there's some like YouTubers that make more business related stuff, and you can learn tips and stuff from them. But yeah, we're also talking about Solstice, like so when you get rejected for an event. Maybe Solstice doesn't get rejected though. Maybe he gets books every single one.
No, no, no. I follow Solstice, and I know that he said on I think he said on the roundtable, he did say that he got rejected once, and he asked why.
That's why, yeah, that's the thing. We talked about that too. So when you ask why? If somebody says, "Oh, we decided to go another direction," do you ask them why, or do you just let it go?
Maybe on that specific client, he asked why. If you did, like, what got you to ask why, or like, I mean, maybe obviously because you want to know, but do you usually ask why when you get rejected, or it's just a specific client that you ask why?
Yeah, depending on your relationship with them. And then Chinchon says the reason why: gas, time, equipment. Yeah, no, you have to, because that's the thing. I mean, yeah, you have to charge. This is another topic too, but like when you're starting out, it's like the how much it would cost someone to rent equipment and have someone come and set it all up and break it all down. That probably costs more than what you're charging the DJ for them, So it's like you have to have that, and then you have to add what your DJ services is on top of that. So all that gas, time, equipment, the labor, the rental of the equipment, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it says I get rejected all the time. A little too expensive. Yeah, that's one of the things we're talking about. Is like that's a good reason to be rejected. You're like, okay, I'm too expensive for you, then that's good. That's always the number one factor. Yep. I only ask if we have a phone call since I close almost all of those. Okay, that makes sense. So if once you get him on a phone call, then it's true. Like once you get someone on a phone call, well, you Diego, you do phone calls with everybody. But if there's like somebody that you're talking to, and then you have a phone call with them, and then they reject you, then there's probably some reason why. And so how do you ask them? Do you ask them like in an email afterwards, or like you text them afterwards and ask them? And then I'm also curious, like, do they usually say that? Then is that when they tell you you're too expensive, or do they sometimes just not even respond to that? Because I feel like clients would be like, yeah, I don't want to. I feel embarrassed saying that.
Matt, have you ever gotten rejected because of something else instead of just like too expensive? Because
expensive, or like
what other things could get you rejected?
Like for me it was like I think it was the lack of content, or lack of like high end content,
Mm-hmm.
And then for you it was before. Well, what other stories? Because you had that one where the lady didn't get you because of the equipment, but that was kind of your price, I guess. But you didn't have the equipment. But have you ever had any other reasons, like other than being too expensive, that you didn't get booked?
Read sources while I'm thinking. I think so. I mean, I'll be
he said, one time I spelled the name wrong on a contract. Dude, no way. So because you spelled their name wrong, they rejected you? That's wild. They texted after saying they wish their DJ sucked. Dude. I mean, that's okay. That's kind of a red flag. If a client, you spelled their name wrong on the contract, and rather than saying, oh, hey, by the way, there's a typo, they reject you totally from doing their whole wedding just because of a typo on the contract. Like that tells me more about the client as them.
I've never had that happen. However, I have sent the wrong contract to the wrong client. I have
okay. So then did they reject you after that? They're like, oh, can you send us the right contract?
Thank God I never got rejected. They're always like, oh, I messed up the names. I put the names of like another wedding that I was doing on the contract. So I messed up on the names, and on one I met on not on the contract but on the timeline. I messed up on the date. I put a different date, or like the different year or something. And then, but they always like, oh, everything looks fine. You just, my name is this, not this one. You probably, this is for somebody else. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. So, and then I fixed it. But I've never gotten rejected because of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that tells you that bride is just some type A, like OCD, like girl, And then Solstice said, yeah, she said on a special day, little errors like that can't be overlooked.
Yeah, but that day is not special yet.
Yeah,
Not there yet.
it's contract days. We're not on the special day. That's wild, dude. Even I had a client. I didn't think about this, but I like wrote instead of it was when the year changed, so the date said like 2024 instead of 2025, and so they just told me like, hey, can you just change? It says the date is 2024 for the event. I'm like, oh yeah, oh my bad, I changed it. I changed it, send them a new one. Well, I didn't get rejected for that. Like that tells you that this girl, I bet she had so many like particularities and like the timeline and like she's probably looking through every single thing then for whoever their DJ was.
Yeah, that was just crazy. I'm mind blown for that one.
Yeah, that's crazy. Smiley agrees. For a typo on a contract is wild. But yeah, they could have asked you to correct it.
Yeah, just a simple correction. That's it.
Yeah, and then sometimes I work too fast on my contract form. I forgot to change a field. Yeah, never been. Yeah, I think that happens. That's one of the things actually is. So I don't know what you use for bookings, but I've seen some DJs have this thing where the contract gets sent to the client, and then they fill out like those things, like, okay, what's your name? What's the venue address? The name of the venue. So the client fills that out before they sign the contract as well. So there's some parts that are already pre-filled, like the price or whatever main details, but then stuff like their name, this, that, then they have the clients type all that stuff in. So that's one thing to think about if you're like, for us, we don't do that many weddings that it's like we get that confused. But when you're doing like a huge scale, yeah, maybe like Matt, if you're doing that many and you're editing all this stuff.
But I thought that his Matt, don't you use, was it Bible? No, not Bible. What's the other one? Bible, right?
Honeybook, right? Honeybook.
I don't know, but no, never mind. He doesn't use any of those. Never mind. I remember he does.
Oh, but that reminds me. I think that's what it was on from Roundtable. That one that Matt was saying he got rejected was the couple said that they wanted a DJ that used Vibo, and then he didn't have Vibo. That's what it was.
Yeah, no, Matt is one of like he's on our side.
Yeah, not Vibo. Yeah, we don't use Vibo. We just use. I use Google Docs. I just use a Google Doc.
Oh, I can see why. I can see why. One of those softwares might be helpful but we're at least like you and I. We're not at that level of like busyness.
Yeah.
Like that. So I can see.
I mean, it's not that expensive, but yeah, I haven't.
It's not necessary.
Yeah, it's not. It's whatever it is, $20 a month.
As DJs, we need to find things that are like are gonna help us, but you have to be able to be like, okay, like you have to reason why you're spending this much money, and like maybe for someone as busy as Matt or like Buddy, then it kind of would make sense to avoid this kind of like mess ups or problems, but for us, not really. It doesn't really make sense to pay like extra money for something that you can do on Google Docs.
Yeah. And then Matt says, or other reasons, like they're so excited to book a DJ, but didn't even check if one was allowed or feasible. What the hell? That's crazy.
What do you mean?
So he's saying, well, I think this is the second part of what he said before. He said, I've had other rejections due to the venue not allowing dancing. And then they didn't. I've never heard of that. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe if you're doing like a wedding at a church or something.
I mean, I've done 2 weddings with no dancing allowed.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that sounds really
for some reason they still needed a DJ. Oh, they wanted a DJ.
But then, maybe then they don't want to pay the price for like a dance floor DJ if they just want someone to do mics and do announcements and stuff.
But you know what? And I kid you not, this is one of the hardest thing to do is DJ a non-danceable party. You would think that it's easy, it's chill. It's not. It's frustrating because our in our head is like you guys gotta dance.
You gotta dance, yeah. So it's not like as satisfying to do.
Yeah.
Chin said I like doing Hispanics party because it feels like you're part of the family and you get close to know them. Yeah, yes. I mean, I think we all can relate to that. When you're doing your own cultures events. And then Solstice says I don't use any software, Adobe for contracts and iCal to manage everyone and everything. Yeah, so he doesn't use any softwares or Vibo. He says, oh yeah, that too. That was some bullshit. He's talking about the Vibo one.
The Vibo thing, yeah.
We have a venue in our area, and they are total dicks. They say to turn that shit down. or get out, or we will unplug. Wow, we will unplug your speakers and lighting. They did call cops on us before. We do. That's wild, dude. Why is the venue so like aggressive?
Yeah.
It's one thing. It's one
Was there
thing
a
to like.
sound ordinance?
Yeah, obviously, there's always venues that tell you like turn it down and stuff, but they're like, we'll unplug your speakers and stuff. That's
Yeah.
like
That's another thing.
taking it too
Like
far.
miscommunication on sound levels. It's another huge problem because I was talking to one client that I booked, and she said that the sound ordinance was 65, and I was like,
So low.
huh?
That's
I, I,
crazy.
I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, sound ordinance is 65. I was like, well, at that point, you don't need a DJ. You just grab a Beats pill and play out of that.
That's wild. I'm looking. Sound level of 65 is a normal conversation, a busy cafe, or a quiet office. That's
Yeah,
literally 65.
yeah.
That's wild.
But then I started like digging more, and then she got into the contract with the venue, and then
Mm.
65 outside. So for
Oh,
ceremonies and things like that,
yeah,
it
yeah,
has to
yeah.
be 65 or on
Okay,
65
okay,
max.
that makes sense.
But then inside, I think she said it was like 80 or 90, something like that.
Okay, I mean, that's still low, but that's normal. That's more normal. Like that's what the limit usually is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so I've,
definitely.
I've done parties at a church with reggaeton music. That's hilarious, dude. He's playing like Yo Pereo Sola.
Hey,
And
so I've heard some like Christian Catholic reggaeton, and
mm,
it's fire, man. It's good. Like the beat is
that's
the
like, bro,
same.
I can't tell the difference. I don't know what they're saying. So to me, this all sounds the same. So I play the wrong track at a church if I'm DJing like that. And then Solstice says, for me, Vibo is another thing I have to check during my prep process. Ain't got time for that in my workflow. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with Vibo or event
I thought it
planner.
was self worked. Like I thought I mean the way they made it sound, it was like the client does everything, and then you don't do anything until
It's a
like
lot, yeah. They have to like type in all this stuff, like I mean, I just use Google Docs and then I have like a little template. I'm like, here, type your timeline here, type the songs you want here, and then it has like a little bit like okay, processional, recessional, it has like little stuff like that. But the good thing
Mhm.
is that they don't have to fill it out. They could skip stuff, they could leave stuff blank, they could just add whatever they want, and then during our planning meeting, I talk and then I update stuff in there. I don't know. I think that'd be easier. Yeah,
More
I
hands
agree.
on.
And then you
You
have
know,
to go on a separate website or there's an app. Like who wants to download a separate app to then, check everything? I'm like, everyone uses Google Docs. So that's why I just do it that way.
yeah, that's true.
And then I just talked to one today. They said DB limit on the dance floor was 110. Wow. And I'm like, that's honestly louder than I play. I'd be surprised, man. If you bring out that whole that big setup, then you're definitely getting louder than 110. But yeah, I don't even know why they're even calling it a limit. Like, who's 110 as a limit is wild. That's like
I
concert
don't
level.
really. Do you know like what's the loudest you've ever played? I
No,
don't
I don't
know.
know. I've never checked it.
I just know my watch keeps going like my
Oh,
watch
like,
is
yeah. You're
uh
the hearing
uh
thing.
yeah, it like vibrates and it says, oh, you're over 90. Oh, you're over 95. I think I've gone to like 100, 98 or 100 max.
Yeah.
Never gone past that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have one of those decibel readers or whatever. Okay, but let's see. Shinchan said we did ban that location because of that incident because of sound check. Oh, so this was during sound check that they like go crazy?
That happened to me once.
That's crazy.
That happened to me on one of the venue here. I set up everything, and right when I started doing the sound check, I started like pushing the subs of the of
The
the
Maui's.
yeah,
Huh?
and then the owner came and he was like, oh, and he came with this little like reader thing.
The
He
decibel
was
thing.
like, yeah, you can't go past 85, I think he said, or
Oh
70.
wow.
And then I was like, okay, so let me play a couple of songs at that same volume, and you just let me know so I can regulate and just know. So I obviously I'll just put in my mixer, and I control the volume from there. And then he was like, yeah, that's fine. But then once the party started, bro, I put it up again, and he never came.
Yeah, it's different too because once everyone's in there, even if he comes out with that sound meter, it's probably gonna be lower than before because
Yeah,
everybody's absorbing the sound. Yeah.
yeah,
Then
so
science, luckily we haven't had issues with sound being too loud. Oh wow, really? I'm surprised because I feel like everyone's. How about like at a house party or something? Nobody's ever like called the cops on your party because of the music or something.
My
Like
husband,
that. Yeah, I feel like
my
that's happened to everybody.
10, out of 10 times, 7 times,
Yeah,
cops are involved.
dude, guaranteed at a house like there's gonna be something like
Yeah,
even if
definitely.
I always tell them like, hey, like like just so you guys know, like after 10 o'clock, you're probably gonna have the cops are probably gonna come or something. They're like, oh no, don't worry about it. The
They
neighbors,
always say
we invited all the neighbors. They're all here. I'm like, okay, and then someone calls the cops.
yeah,
someone somewhere else.
somebody that didn't get invited.
Or maybe someone at the party, they didn't want to go home. They're like, hey, come break up this
You
party.
know, I tell you, it happens all the time, especially when out here they have like single houses with the big backyard, and
Yeah,
that's where they do their parties. And they're like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, man. Like it's fine. You can play music. You play music 10 o'clock, 10:30, boom,
yeah.
cops are there. Hey, please keep it low, whatever." So yeah, it's happened to
100%.
me.
It always happens. Chinchon says, yeah, because I have Yorkville ESP21 connected to Harbinger speakers V2312. What's that? Let me look. Yorkville ESP? Is that a mixer?
Because I have a York.
ESP21. Oh shit. Oh shit, dude, you have this thing. Dude, this is a 21-inch sub. Holy crap, bro. Hold on. Chinchillin'. We don't know you're rolling like that, bro.
Come on, bro. Share the love.
Chinchillin'.
Okay.
This thing.
Oh damn.
Bro. Chinchillin's not messing around. Hold on. Let me get to the actual stop screen.
Yo, Shin, if you got that $3,000 subwoofer, god damn, bro.
Bro, it's not even that. This is a 21-inch sub. Dude, I've actually played on this sub before. So I rented this from a guy, and he had two of them, and literally with these, the bottles were falling off in the bar. The bottles were falling down.
Wow.
This thing was powerful.
What's the SP on it?
Let me see. Frequency. Oh, SPL 142.
Woo!
Yo, the thing is, how do you even carry this thing around, Chinchillin? Do you have like?
I was just gonna ask Solstice.
Bro, this thing is like.
He answered already.
Pounds, bro.
He already answered.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
What do you say? Hold on, let me go back. Expensive too. Hold on, nah. Okay, hold on. Let me go in order here. We turn the volume a bit at 10, but decent enough. Okay, so Smiley's smart. Then he turns the volume down ahead of time. Doesn't wait for the cops.
No, man.
Yeah, man, it's expensive. Oh, Solstice says that Yorkville sucks ass. He says it's punchy as hell, but not deep. Waste of money, but those fools in the Northeast love it. Okay, so you've tried this one then, because I know Solstice actually uses probably like one of the only DJs on YouTube that actually uses 21-inch subs. So you're the one that would know about it. And then same price, you could get an RCF Dual 18 with way more power and bass. Yeah, I mean, either way, I mean, these are so heavy. What's the? Oh my god, dude!
No way. There's no 200 pounds. You have to put that in a dolly.
And chilling. How are you carrying this thing around, bro? And even okay, so how much is this Dual 18? The RCF Dual 18, and like even weight wise, Dual 18. Yo, Chillin', that's crazy, man, that you carry that thing. Okay, let's go here. So here's the RCF Dual 18.
That was big too.
Yeah, this thing's probably 200 pounds also. Hold up. Specs. Okay, so 137 dB on the SPL.
Okay, so a little less than the other one.
Yeah. Okay, it's a little less light too, but yeah.
170. But God, bro.
That's still crazy, bro. That's not even light, bro. That's wild.
Yo, Chin, for real, how are you carrying that thing, man? Like, do you dolly that joint or what?
Yeah, Yorkville is definitely it's a Canada thing, and then people in the East Coast use it. But yeah, mainly these guys from Canada use Yorkville. Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense, right? Like if you're doing more like Hispanic music or stuff like with the more like punchier bass. Dubstep is totally different, yeah, because you're going like that blah 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 blah, like that that sound, you probably want more of what Solstice is saying, like the you want it to get deeper. But if you're doing more like hip hop,
You want
dance hall,
punchy.
Caribbean stuff, reggaeton,
You want it more
like
punchy.
you want it to be more punchy. Yeah, Chinchillin says Sony Dero, bro. Yo, Chinchillin's respect level went up after this today, bro. If you actually, if that's what you bring to every gig, bro, that's wild, man. That's definitely that's hardcore Sony Dero style. Now it makes sense why bands are hitting you up to do production for them, because you have a freaking. How many of these do you have? You said he has one of these.
That's crazy, man.
And then,
Just
but
the
bro,
way.
you have this. How can the Harbinger even keep up with this? The bass is probably so loud. the Harbinger are probably not loud enough to keep up with this thing, dude. That's wild, man.
They're mind blown again.
Yeah,
But
if
Sosa said RCF 808 8008. The 8,
yeah, that's the one I have. That's the one I have up here.
yeah.
That's this one.
Yeah. So
yeah, it looks nice. I mean, that's the thing. It's got that, like, it's wider, and this Yorkville is just like a freaking tank, bro. Well, now actually they reminded me, because now that this LD 21-inch sub came out, it kind of reminded me of this one. Because see how this one has all these handles everywhere?
I mean, for that weight, you need it.
Yeah, you need it. That's the thing. So that even the new LD one is a 21-inch sub. It's like, it kind of looks like this. Like, it's just a gigantic, like, beast. And then it kind of reminded me of this Yorkville sub. And Sony Dero style, yeah. Solstice says it's all fake specs. Yeah, he's talking about like the RCF is 137 dB versus the Yorkville is 142. And then Solstice says, yeah, the LD sub is amazing, but doesn't look silly like the Yorkville one does. Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's no way, like, dude, that weight, man. I can't, like, you have to have a whole team. Like, you have to have a team doing that setup, because.
Yo, I thought I was buff with my 80-pound sub. 200.
200 pounds. Chinchillin, yeah, you gotta let us. I think Solstice, I know you probably have a team or like guys that come and set it up, but Chinchillin, how do you like set this thing up, bro? Like, do you do this yourself, or what do you?
Well, do you have a storage? Do you have it at your house? Do you hoist this thing up?
Yeah,
like, how do you get it out?
Bring a forklift or something, bro. Because he said he usually charges $500, $600, but then he's bringing this sub, bro. I'd pay like this just to bring the sub out. It probably costs like $1,200, like, to rent the sub and all the labor to hoist this thing. Oh my god.
Oh, maybe he meant he charges $500 per hour with this beast. That's probably what he meant.
Oh, that's a beast, dude, to do for that.
That's
bro.
crazy.
You're getting a real. That's what he says, Sony Dero style. But anyways, yeah, though, man, we're over time. That was a good ending though with the sub, man. He's Chinchillin threw that on us out of nowhere.
That one was fire. That was crazy. Definitely, that was definitely crazy. But yeah, guys. Anyways, thank you for showing up again. Another episode of Start to Spin. Keep on the lookout. We're gonna come up with another episode next week. We're gonna do it. Man, now I'm just mind blown with that big ass song.
He's at a loss for words, bro.
Yeah. Go ahead, man, yo, kick it out, because I'm out.
He's out, bro. You took Diego out. You blew his mind, man. He can't even think right now. Smiley says better to invest in a bigger mixer than to rent them out. That's true. Yeah, you might as well, dude. If you have that stuff, then the advice before change, man. You should consider doing band rentals, because it makes sense now why they're asking you, because of that thing. I remember a song I played, Oe Tristan by Quintal. You can feel vibration whole building when I started the intro for my theme. It was my Sony Dero night out. Again, I haven't heard that song. I don't know if you heard that song before. Chinchillin has some songs that we haven't heard before. Oe Tristan. Haven't heard that one. I can imagine, man. That thing.
You definitely
misspelled that loud, man. That thing is loud, bro. So
you had to misspell that joint, because I don't know what the hell that is.
That's crazy, man. That's okay. Chinchillin, if you carry that thing on your by yourself, man, you're the MVP, man. You must be like jacked or something. You gotta let us know next time how you carry that and what you use to transport it. But yeah, we'll catch you guys now next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. yeah, we'll have a new topic, and then throw anything in the chat just like you do, and then we'll talk about that instead of our topic. So we'll catch you guys now next week. Thanks for stopping by.
And remember, every no gets you closer to a better yes. Hey, keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind. Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Peace out, guys.
This thing is as much as your bench press. Peace out.